My name is Aaron Ladd, host of the Locked On Chiefs Squad Show, and this Halloween weekend just got even spookier for opposing running games. We'll tell you why coming up later in the show.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's JC Pearson, and I'm not quite sure that the Bills are as good as everybody is making them out to be, and I'll tell you why.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only Darren Smith, and let me tell you, while everybody's going to be talking about James Cook, I think we're going to see vintage Kareem Hunt, 2018 Kareem Hunt, and I'll tell you why this weekend.
I'm Ryan Tracy, and this is it. It comes down to this because no matter what happens now, they're going to see this team again. Just a question of whether it's a wild card. Is it a championship game? Who knows? But you got to make your statement today and get ready for it. I think the Chiefs will.
Chiefs Kingdom, stand up. It's the Chiefs Squad. Everything Kansas City Chiefs every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from Arrowhead Stadium. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Squad up. The Chiefs Squad Show starts now.
All right, we appreciate the everydayers for blocking with us on the Chiefs Squad Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. It is Buffalo Bills week, and Kansas City is welcoming back a familiar face. We will tell you who in our first segment. And everything's better when you're having more fun. Patrick Mahomes says he and the offense are having fun. We will talk about that and a quote that stood out to me after the win over the Washington Commanders. Which team is this game more important to? Stole that straight from First Take. We're going to have a little First Take debate in our third segment. And finally, is the MVP award up for grabs when these two teams match up on Sunday? Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. All the comments and questions, I'll try and pop those up on the screen, and we will get to them in our final segment. Our first one is welcoming back number 69. Mike Pennel comes back to Kansas City and joins the 53-man roster. He played in every game with the Chiefs last season, had 25 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble in the regular season, along with 10 tackles in the postseason. We were talking about defensive line help. We've mentioned, maybe them poking around the trade market, but it comes in this move before this important AFC matchup. Let's go straight to you, Ryan, since you ended us off on the intro. What do you make of KC welcoming back a familiar face here?
I think the Bengals did the Chiefs a favor yet again. They made a mistake. And you know what? The Chiefs will take it. I think there's more to Mike Pennel than just what he does on the field. I think his presence with this group of D-line in particular raises the level. I think it sets people at ease. He's got a personality that we all know in the locker room is beloved, and that's great. But he can make plays for you as well. And most importantly, I think he gives you depth, where you can continue run your rotation with Tillery and Derek Nottie, but Mike can come in if you need to. Does he have to walk in and start? No, he doesn't. But somebody who knows the system, can do what he does, and he don't like the Bills either, so I'm all for it.
Darren Smith, Mike Pennel is a Super Bowl 58 champion. He's a Super Bowl 54 champion. You covered both of those games. What does he mean to this locker room, to the point that Ryan was making, welcoming him back into the mix this year?
Well, as Ryan mentioned, of course, you look at the depth factor because you already know Spags' system is not something that he has to come back and learn versus someone, if the Chiefs were to sign, off the street or trade for, they would have to pick up the system and learn. So there's no waiting period when it comes to what he brings. And then also his presence, as Ryan mentioned, just in the locker room amongst Chris Jones, he talked about bringing this guy back, and he's talked about it in more than one press conference. And so he didn't want to leave. It was a situation where obviously when it comes to his business, it's a money game. And so he ended up going to Cincinnati. People were like, "Well, you're going to Cincinnati? Well, the man has a family to feed. So, they offer you money. You're going to go play for him." So I guess he wasn't being used properly or used a lot. He asked for a release. You ask Mike Brown to save some money. Mike Brown's going to cut you and let you go about your business. And so that was an opportunity for him to come back to Kansas City. And also, it also goes to the fact, if you stop and think about it, everybody wonders what Brett Veach is going to do as we get closer to the trade deadline. I said last week, if the offense is doing what they're supposed to be doing, they might not make too many moves. And the moves that you make, it could end up costing you more if you try to trade for someone, but you get someone like Mike Pennel that you don't have to, you just give him, veteran salary, veteran minimum or what have you, and bring him back. You're not expending a lot of capital in trying to improve your defense. Now, will he be able to, help stop the run? Yes, but is he going to do it to the extent that that you would go out and bring a big name in? No, but again, if the offense does what they're supposed to do, it's not going to matter because they're going to be more passing downs than they will be running.
JC, let you get the crack at it now. Mike Pennel comes back. And to Darren's point, it's really low investment move. Buy low, maybe sell high or get a high investment.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals are the Bengals for a reason. How stupid is that? You know, if anything, try to get something back for them. You know, the Chiefs are in the market for defensive linemen. You know that he's a former Chief. He comes in and asks for a release, and okay, yeah, we'll release you, and gets picked up by the Chiefs the next day. I mean, how try to get something for the guys. If you sign them, but that's why they're the Bungles or the Bengals, or whatever you want to call them. But good move by the Chiefs, obviously. Bring in a guy that a guy that knows your system, the locker room. So there's comfort there with him. There's comfort everywhere. So you're just bringing a guy in, and I'm sure he couldn't be any more happier than to be back in Kansas City. So he's going to give it his all. System he can plug right in like the other guys were saying, and it's low investment. So great move by Kansas City, and again, a dumb move by Cincinnati.
JC, I want to go back to you on this one because you've been in the Chiefs locker room. I saw so many memes on social media about, Chris Jones welcoming back his best friend and just kind of the morale factor that this does for a team. KC has played a lot of football when you add up regular season and them going to the Super Bowl year after year after year. This is a guy who's been a part of those championship teams. What can that do? Can you speak to the morale of what it means to the front office kind of matching what Chris Jones was asking for and kind of meeting guys halfway as they try to make another charge here for a Lombardi trophy?
Yeah, well, we knew that they were going to be in the market for a D lineman. So this is doesn't cost him anything. He's a guy, like I said, that everyone in the locker room that's been here knows. They're comfortable with him. He's comfortable with the guys. And, there's something to be said about bringing your guy back in, and I'm talking about Chris Jones now, mentioning how close they are and it's his guy and how happy, they would have to have him back, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody thinks that on a team, everybody's friends and everybody's close. That's not true. I don't care how much you win, how much, how many Super Bowls you have. Everybody is not close in that locker room. So to have somebody that you're really comfortable with, you can bounce things off, you can share things with. And Chris hasn't been having a great season. So anybody that can bring him in and help him get back to the level that he was at and, can talk to him, man to man and stuff, it's big, to be honest with you. And so I think it's a great move in more ways than one.
And Aaron, and from someone, being in the locker rooms during these seasons, you can tell, as JC talked about, the relationship that, certain, obviously offense and defense, but the linemen got their thing, the D-backs got theirs, the linebackers, and you go down to where he's at on the defensive line. I mean, you kind of saw some of the clips that were floating around today where they were in practice, kind of wrestling the shadow box. And I mean, Chris, and Chris could use that as JC talked about, to someone who can help push him to greatness. And I mean, and I said it in a manner in which, his stats are not what they should be, as we all know, for someone who's getting paid the money that he is. But but you got somebody that can push you, on the sidelines to to make big plays and push you in practice and stuff. And that's something that Chris Jones sorely needed.
I do have some numbers before we toss this around the horn. If you're just joining us again, Mike Pennel comes back to Kansas City. He's on the 53-man roster after collecting 15 tackles in 8 games with the Cincinnati Bengals. This is an immediate test for Mike Pennel in this Chiefs running game because Buffalo averages 165 yards on the ground per game with 13 rushing touchdowns. That is first in the league as far as rushing yards per game. Ryan, can 69 make an immediate impact for Kansas City? Will we see that run-stopping impact in this monster AFC matchup?
I think we will. The question is whether the Bills are going to attack him or not, or they're going to try to get to the edges, which I think might be part of their philosophy. I think what you saw from James Cook last week is certainly explosive around the edge. So maybe that's their plan. But I'll tell you this. As much as Chris Jones got his buddy back, George Karlaftis got his uncle back. And I think that makes an impact as well. And I thought we saw one of maybe the top 5 performances of George Karlaftis' career just last week. And I know the stats didn't ring up to it, but he was everywhere and he was pushing. He was coming off the ball well. I think having Mike back just kind of helps him as well. And the guy that I'm really intrigued by long-term, I think needs more of a mentor, another mentor in the room. And that's Ashton Gelati, who's played some snaps, but I haven't seen him progress as much as I had hoped by now. So I'm hoping that Mike Pennel can not just help on the field and stop the run a little bit, but he can help everybody else do that as well.
You know, sometimes they have these getting the band back together signings where it's just kind of it brings those warm fuzzies back, and it just doesn't make all the sense in the world. I don't want to name any names, but this doesn't feel like that type of signing. It feels like there's a need for Kansas City here. Obviously, they had the rookie go down with the injury along the D-line. We were talking about them needing D-line help on the trade market. This is a guy who was a fan favorite. I know there was an uproar on social media when he didn't make the team coming out of St. Joe, and everybody was like, what's Brett Veach doing? Do we need to go down there and sign him ourselves? It feels like there's a round peg going into a round hole as far as Mike Pennel coming back, and this is just a really tough test when you think about how well James Cook has played this year. I do expect an impact right away, and not just in the mentorship aspect, but also on the field. I wonder what y'all think about that, JC and Darren.
Well, you know, I think he'll make an impact. Obviously, he's in shape. He's in playing shape because he's been playing. So that's a positive. And then, you know, just the aspect, again, of like you said, getting the band back together. And, you know, he's not going to be expected to go out and play 50, 60 plays, but, you know, he's going to be hyped up and ready to play because, I mean, I'm sure he's ecstatic to be back in Kansas City. You know, obviously they want him. And, you know, he's a guy that, in reference to Chris, is not a guy that he can just bounce things off, but a guy that he respects. Not everybody can say something to Chris and get him going, right?
Great
but
point.
If you have a guy that can get in his face and get in his butt and like, hey, you need to do this, then that's big because not everybody can do that. But sometimes we all need that. Right. And so he's a guy that they respect, not only like, but respect as well. So, you know, like Ryan was saying, he's the uncle, he's the, you know, the elder statesman, the guy that's been around and guy that can speak up when necessary and they listen to him.
Look, and I think he makes an impact. Again, I'm not going to say he's going to make an immediate impact, but I just think his play, his presence, and the depth that he brings is going to be good. And I know you kind of, I don't know if you alluded to this particular person, but you know, but it does help that Kansas City brings in former players, you know, that was on the roster, kind of like, you know, a couple of times McCole Hardman, you know, saying that the Chiefs ended up signing him, you know, when he went to other teams and ended up getting cut and coming back, and he ended up playing a valuable role in the team winning the Super Bowl, I think, against 1 year against the Eagles, and of course helping the team get there last year against the Eagles. So, you know, I'm not saying his impact is going to be as big as what McCole was, but it does help the spirit of the defensive lineman in the locker room. I mean, you talked about, you know, George and some of the other players. I mean, but also, you know, it adds depth to what, you know, you've got Mike Dana, you've got obviously Charles Omenihu, and of course, you know, with the rookie going down. I mean, it's just, and he, trust me when I tell you, he livens the place up. You know, I know from time to time doing interviews with him in the back of the media room and stuff like that, you know, we'll talk about Thanksgiving and what, you know, like it'll be little things that he'll say that'll shock you. Like, you know, man, I know you're going to throw some, you know, deep dish turkey. Nah, man, I'm throwing fillets on what? Yeah, I'm bringing steaks. Even if you come Thanksgiving, I'll bring you some. You ain't got to tell me twice. So I mean, that's just, you know, that's just his personality is what it is, and I'm just telling you, it's infectious. Where, you know, if they were to have a bad game, which I don't expect them to lose the rest of the season, but I just think that hey, whatever. But you know, but I just think that his addition or his return is going to spark something defensively with this team.
He's a jovial guy. He lightens the mood. Football, I know it's a game and it's light and it's supposed to be a men playing a kid's game, but these are tense moments. This is tense. There's a lot of pressure when you watch the dynasty and you think about the Chiefs always getting everybody's A game every week.
I mean,
maybe just a laughter.
This is a team
they are being paid a whole lot of money, so
yeah,
kids' game ain't free.
And this is a team that's played 60 games in 3 years. You know, they're tired. They need that. They need that lift, especially as you get into January and you get ready for that run in the playoffs. They need it.
All right, we're going to take our first break here. Mike Pennel is back, and so is the fun with Kansas City's offense. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs quarterback, says he's smiling a little bit more this year. We'll tell you why right after this. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, we are back in on the Chief Squad Show on a Wednesday. Aaron Ladd, JC Pearson, Darren Smith, and Ryan Tracy looking ahead to this monster matchup. Monster, I say that a lot because it's Halloween weekend. Nobody dressed up. I was expecting at least one costume from y'all guys. Come on. Maybe what's scary for Kansas City or opponents in this case. What was that, Darren? Go ahead.
I said I'm dressed as a beat reporter, just dressed down. That's all.
What's fun this weekend is Halloween and also Kansas City's offense finding their stride again. This quote stood out to me from Patrick Mahomes. JC, I'm going to go to you first on this one. And we kind of get lost in the shuffle sometimes. We go live right after the game. So I'm going back through all the post-game press conferences. And this is what Patrick Mahomes had to say about the vibe around the team. Quote, I know the record's not as good, and he's talking about last year, but it's a lot more fun when everybody's going out there and making stuff happen. I think we're getting better and better. We lost some tough games early that we had won in previous years, but it's not like anyone hung their head. They just continue to get better and better. And that's all we have to do is push forward. When the offense, defense, and special teams are rolling, it's fun to play football. JC, it hasn't looked fun all the time in Kansas City. Throughout this whole stretch, whatever, like we were talking about, a lot of pressure. What does it say that Mahomes is verbalizing? Not just enjoying his time out there, but he's verbalizing, hey, we're finding something here.
Oh, yeah. It's always fun when you win, right? And you win the way that they're winning. The first 2 weeks weren't a lot of fun. I can guarantee you that. But now they're healthy. They've got their guys back. They're rolling offensively. He's making plays. They're putting a lot of points on the board. So, yeah, when you're doing that, your offense, your defense is playing well. Special teams is playing well. It's always fun when you win. It's when you lose that the lows are a lot lower than the highs are high, during the season. Winning, when you win, it's more like a relief. And, when you're doing it, you're having fun. But it's more of a relief than when you lose. It's like, especially around here, it's like the world is falling in, it's caving in. So, it's definitely a lot more fun when you win for him, I'm sure.
Darren, you're on the ground. Do you sense more fun? Are there streamers around? Are there like balloons in the locker room now?
First of all, I'm calling cap on what he's saying because.
Ooh, okay.
No, because here's the thing. It was 15-1 last year, or
15-2
last year. Yeah. But the thing is, they wasn't winning in the fashion that they're winning now. They're putting up points. That's what I keep trying to tell everybody. When they're putting up points like this, yes, it looks fun. It's fun for them. And trust me when I tell you, it's fun for better. I've had people from Cleveland all over the country hit me up in my DM. Tell Patrick, I said, thank you, man. My parlay slip hit. People are happy about that because, hey, I'm trying to
take your shot on your bingo card at home. There we go.
Man, can you make a statement without a betting line or something?
Listen, pay attention, JC. Even you as a former player can learn a thing or two about this. Now, what has happened, seriously, look at the last 2 years. Look at the last years on how this team was playing. They were playing too many one-score ball games that were close going down to the end. So it was more stressful. When they won Eric Bieniemy's last year, when they beat Philadelphia, they were the number one scoring team in the league. They were putting up points and Patrick threw for 5,000 plus yards and 50 or whatever it was that he threw for. So he had fun then when he won that MVP because they were putting up a lot of points and they were winning in big fashions. They wasn't doing it the last 2 years. Yes, they were winning games, but if you know how stressful it was, Aaron, especially you know how stressful it was over these last 2 seasons on how the team was winning. They were happy that they won, but they wasn't happy that they won the fashion that they were winning. And so it's fun for them now because how they're looking with everybody here, everybody healthy, the offense back to what they said it was going to look like in the offseason. That's the reason why he's having fun.
Well, there's another reason why he's having fun too. And that is not just the last 3 weeks where they've only allowed 24 points against them and they didn't need to score 30. There's no pressure on him. He's got to put up 21 points to win a ball game lately. If you look at the last 6, other than the falling asleep against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've had multi-score leads and wins that he hasn't had to be all world. He hasn't had to carry him like he did the first couple of weeks. That makes your life a lot more fun too.
And the way the offensive line has been protecting him, because you talked about that today, how he's had more time to be able to go through his reads and stuff. He hadn't had it the last couple of years now, and last year with the left tackle position, he was frustrated. So again, it's easy to have fun now because you got your offensive line kind of set together. The defense is playing well. When you got a big lead now, you're not losing it, and so. I'm just calling Cap to say that on what he's saying, not that they're not having fun, but the reason why they're having fun.
See, I think the part that stands out to me, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Let me ask him this though, Aaron. According to what you're saying, so if he puts up a lot of points and they lose, he's having fun, right? Because they're putting up a lot of points, he's scoring. No, you got to win to have fun.
Well, hold on. They wasn't putting up a lot of points last year, and they were winning, and he wasn't having fun.
Well,
it came out of his mouth himself.
I guarantee he was having more fun than if they lost.
I think the piece of this quote that stands out to me the most is not the fun part. Sure, that's cool. That's the headline. But it's the part where he says, I think we're getting better and better. I think Mahomes realizes, hey, we just got Rashee Rice back and we're 5-3. I think we've said it multiple times on this platform. They're playing like their BC game on average. Have the Chiefs put an A game down yet on tape? I mean, maybe last week.
Yeah, they put it together against the Raiders.
Okay, we against the JV team.
Hold on, Aaron,
that's your job. Smash JV teams.
Aaron, call it what you want. They are paid professionals. You still got to go out there and because that same attitude is how they lost against Jacksonville.
I think the part that makes Mahomes realize that he's having fun and he's going to continue to have fun, and the part of this quote that maybe is the most standing out to me is that he realizes, we're not playing our best right now. We're just now getting the band back together. Hollywood is still trying to get into the mix. We're still trying to figure out the run game, and there's still room for us to go and grow. They still haven't played the best competition. I think everybody on this panel will agree that this week is going to be their toughest test as far as everybody in-house. There's no excuses. Everybody's healthy. For the most part. Obviously, Pacheco we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But I think the fact that he realizes there's room to grow here and we're still in the mix, I think that's why he's really having fun here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You're saying that that this is going to be their toughest test. You would think just because it's Buffalo. Well, but when you look at Buffalo, though, I mean, look at their season. They played Baltimore week 1. Right, 41-40 win, but Baltimore, as we find out, is not the Baltimore team that we thought. They played the Jets, then Miami, then New Orleans, then they lose to New England, lose to Atlanta, and then blow out Carolina. So who have they played? Nobody that they've played has a winning record right now. So are they as good as
New England?
Does New England have a winning record right now?
Well, New England is actually.
Yep. Oh, well, I mean, maybe they might, but New England, nobody thinks New England is going to do anything. But still, I mean, they've not played anybody, and they lost to New England at that anyway. So, are they really as good as people think they are? Are they the Bills of old, or are they just, living off of being the Buffalo Bills? Because they haven't really played anybody yet.
I'm with you, JC, as it relates to whether or not because I don't think they've really been challenged since game 1. I mean, game 1, I think that was more of a freak incident because Baltimore should have won the game. But that being said, their defense has been challenged. Nobody's is thinking anything about the defense. To be quite honest, the only thing about Buffalo's offense is James Cook and Josh Allen. And I know we're going to preview the game more, but obviously, if what the Chiefs have done defensively with the run game these last 3-4 games, if they can superimpose that to Sunday's game, it shouldn't even be close.
Yeah, more than the last 3 or 4 games, though. I went back and you know who the last 100-yard rusher was against the Chiefs?
Probably Derrick Henry in Nashville.
No, some dude named Zamir White that played for the Raiders in 23, Christmas Day 2023.
Okay. Yeah,
and that was the day that, we sat everybody. That was the last 100-yard rusher that the Chiefs have allowed.
Did we sit?
Yeah.
No, I thought they played that game where
December
that the game
20,
where they
whatever
came to
it
the
was,
area?
it was a long time ago. And you think about all the guys that they played. Saquon this year only had 88 yards. Not only, but I mean, they've not allowed a 100-yard rusher in a long time. So I don't expect James Cook to have a big game against them, because they just don't allow teams or one guy to have big rushing games against them. That's one thing they take away.
I certainly hope so. They got to keep that up, because what we look at is a team that is, in their mind, desperate, I think. Just came off of a crossover show with Joe Marino over there with the Bills, and they're concerned about New England, as they should be. They gotta find what works and hammer down on it. And I wonder if that means James Cook to them in their building this week to come out and try to see if they can make it go.
I got some more numbers here looking ahead to this Buffalo-Kansas City game. We talked about Buffalo leading the league as far as rushing yards per game. Well, how about this for a dichotomy? They've also allowed the most yards per game on the ground, an average of 150 per game. I'm going to say it once an episode. We already stamped Darren's, the Vegas on the bingo card for the squad show. I'm going to once again beg the Chiefs to run effectively, not only between the tackles, but outside of the tackles. This is the game to get it done. Control the ball, keep the MVP on the sideline, don't let him get a rhythm, and milk the clock, and let Mahomes and 15 and whoever ends up being a part of the running back group. I know you mentioned Kareem Hunt in your lead-in, Darren, but this is the game to really get the running game right. This team has not figured it out. I watched Atlanta run all over them, to your credit, JC, a team that's subpar that still had success against Buffalo. Run the ball. 3 words.
You are right. When you look at True Media and they provide those rankings, 31st in rushes and yards, 23rd in third down conversion. You can run against them. And even with Pacheco out, I think you're going to get a shot to see Rashard Smith do a little bit more. I loved that toss play last week. I think you're going to see more, but they're going to get to the edges and let them just burn.
Not only can they run, but their secondary's banged up too. Their secondary's not as good as it's been in the past either. So, I think you spread these guys out, and you can run it and throw it at will. I think offensively we're gonna have a big game.
I do think that you're going to see more Rashard Smith, because I don't think Isaiah's going to play this weekend. However, even though they are ranked 31st in run defense, man, I think you have to waterboard Andy Reid and Matt Nagy to actually run the football as much as you're going to need to.
We got to get a better term for that, Darren.
Yeah, it's a better term. Hey man, hey, look, man, they are going to pass that football. Now, granted, the last couple of weeks, they have rushed for, I think, close to 150 yards the last couple of games, but a lot of that's been Patrick Mahomes, obviously, running the football as well. So, and those aren't called plays; those are design plays for him that he decided he's going to pull it back and run. So, you just got to convince me that you're willing to run the football consistently and not get carried away with the short passes and substitute of the running game.
I've changed my tune on Mahomes running the ball a little bit. Watched the game back last week. The touchdown pass to Kareem was kind of created because Mahomes goes outside the pocket, the linebacker bites on him, and the pass is right over the top. Maybe that's instilled in the game plan a little bit more. Defensive coordinator saying, hey, 15, he's moving around a little bit more. Watch out for this.
But Aaron, here's the thing. I have a problem with that. My thing was just wait till the playoffs for Mahomes to start just doing all this running stuff. See, now they're going to be prepared for it. If he hadn't been doing it these first 7-8 games, okay, and then you break it out during the playoffs, and look, teams wouldn't even know what hit him there.
He's always been running, though. I mean, he's not playing any different than he's played forever.
Mahomes about to come out this game being the team leading rusher again.
And I'd like not to see that, but
he's effective when he's the lead rusher.
He's effective, I'd like not to see that, but hey, he's done it forever. And then again, once he starts running, getting out of the pocket, like we talked about last week after the game, and Aaron just mentioned, now you put those guys out there in a bind? Do you come up and try to tackle him because he's been running and now the guy's open behind you, or do you stay back and now he's going to run the ball? So, it's kind of a catch-22 once he gets out on outside the pocket, but you don't want to see a lot of it, but we'll see it, especially in crucial situations. He's always going to use his legs in a big situation. He's going to use them.
Ryan, you want one take before the break?
I just hope that if he's going to use his legs, fine. I don't want to see that option again, period, until the Super Bowl. Okay. I don't want to see it. Right. I mean, there's risk and there's risk. So, okay. If you're going to scramble around a little bit, use that to draw defenders. That's fine. I also didn't like how late he slid a little bit last week and the week before that once as well. So let's take a little bit better care of yourself, because as good as this team is running right now, without 15, it's not going anywhere.
Chiefs versus Bills, a battle of two titans in the AFC, but who wants it more? We debate that right after this. The NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your Chiefs. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It's frustrating. That's why we use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. Plus, all free fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way that we've bought tickets. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. I'm going to get that right eventually. We're back in on the Chiefs Squad Show. Aaron Ladd, JC Pearson, Darren Smith, and Ryan Tracy previewing this Chiefs versus Bills game. I think there's no debate about it. This is the biggest game on the slate this week. So I'm at the gym. I'm looking up at the monitor. First Take is on, and it's a very simple question. Which team is this game more important to? Some numbers before I toss it to you first. Darren Smith here. Kansas City has eliminated Buffalo 4 of the last 5 seasons. Buffalo was 4-1 versus Kansas City in the regular season, while Kansas City is 4-0 versus Buffalo in the playoffs. Who wants it more, Darren?
Well, who wants it more is Buffalo. Who needs it more is Kansas City. Buffalo, obviously, they continue to win the regular season, so I'm not sure if it's that important, but obviously to win at home is always a good thing. It's more important for Kansas City because right now they're number 7, as it relates to seeding. So they need to win because 4 losses this early, you're looking at 20, 21, 22 when they start off the season 3-4 when they had that many losses. So it's important for them to win the game because you need that head-to-head matchup victory right about now between them. Then, of course, after the bye week, with Denver and then the Colts coming in, those are these next 3 games are must-win games for Kansas City. So for me, it's simple. Kansas City is the team that needs it more.
JC, what do you think?
Ryan, go ahead. You were going to start. Go ahead.
I was going to say I won't argue because the Chiefs already have 2 conference losses, and I think that's what's important when we get to the end of the season, particularly if it comes down to I'm pretty surprised. Chiefs are 7th seed right now. Probably have to start tomorrow. They are last. They are traveling. Same thing with the Buffalo Bills, but I still feel as it all shakes out that this may be the championship matchup for the AFC, and you want that head-to-head win, and you got to get another win in the AFC. Stay ahead of it.
Yeah, I think both teams want to win. But again, like you guys are saying, Kansas City needs it more at this point in the season. If they lose it, does that mean the season's over? Absolutely not. But they need it more at this point, having the losses they have versus, Buffalo only has 2 losses. But, you want to win every week, every game, especially in this one, when you have so much history between the 2 clubs. But yeah, it's this will be a high intensity, all out game on Sunday.
I can't keep track. I don't know if it was the Dynasty series or the quarterback series. Mahomes is in so many series at this point and documentaries, but there's one of them. They lose in Buffalo, and you can hear him yelling in the locker room. Was that Buffalo or was that Cincinnati? It was one of these two games. I believe it was Buffalo, but this is a regular
Cincinnati.
season.
That was quarterback because I was there. It was Cincinnati.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Boots on the ground. My point is that Mahomes cares about all these games. He wants every single game.
I mean, you're going to say it. At least be factually correct. I'm just trying to help you.
All these athletes want every single game. They're professionals. They're competitors. But when you think about taking it a tick further, especially because of the regular season, like JC, I know we've gotten on this platform. You said, hey, everybody wants it. Everybody's competitive. Everybody goes out there. We know what it's like when it's a playoff atmosphere. We know what it's like when guys take their A game from the very first snap. To me, the answer to this one is Kansas City because of the factors that we've mentioned. They have the actual external factors of their record, and they need to avoid another loss inside the division or inside the conference, excuse me. And then it's just that competitive factor. I think Mahomes still laughs when he sees the top 100 every year and other quarterbacks are above him, or when he sees other quarterbacks get MVP awards above him. Competitive prick, that word that was tossed around with Eric Bieniemy, it fully applies to Patrick Mahomes. And I think they have both of those factors to want it more and need it more.
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, and then, with the history that these teams have had, they don't like each other. And, I would think that Buffalo probably hates Kansas City a little more than, Kansas City hates them. But Kansas City's been on top, so Kansas City kind of enjoys beating them. So Buffalo's got a chip on their shoulder. Kansas City's got a chip on their shoulder because, they've always had to go through the Bills at some point during the playoffs. And you don't want to have to go back to Buffalo. The whole Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes thing, everybody hears that as well. So, there's some dislike going on between these clubs also. Always has been.
Darren, you want it?
No, go for it. I'm good.
Some more numbers, and these have been since.
I've said my piece. When it comes to must win, just look at what the Chiefs are coming up against. We talk about them run game. I know the Broncos have a good running game, and of course, we're going to be hosting Jonathan Taylor in a couple of weeks. So, again, I just think it's just a must-win game for Kansas City because look, first of all, they would be in because the team was on a bye last week. If that team went on the bye, Kansas City would be on the outside looking in. So that's why it's more important for Kansas City to win these games, and they really can't afford another loss. Because that's why it was big for them to win last week against the Washington Commanders because as long as the Chargers and the Broncos are still winning, they're still a game or half a game up ahead of you. So you've got to win until you face your AFC West division rivals again to try to either sweep with Denver or split with Los Angeles. So yeah, like I said, these next 4 games are all must-win games for Kansas City.
I do have some more numbers, and it's kind of to your point, Ryan, about Mahomes having fun because he only has to score 21 points. Those numbers that I mentioned earlier in the intro, since 2020, Buffalo 4-1 versus Kansas City in the regular season. In those 5 regular season matchups, Kansas City's averaging 21 points per game. KC 4-0 against Buffalo in the playoffs, and in those 4 matchups, Kansas City averaging 35 points per game. So if you were to sit here looking ahead to this matchup, regular season, is this a KC offense that's having fun and can score closer to that 35 number, or can 21, in your opinion, still get it done with the way the defense is playing right now?
The defense is playing pretty well. Will 21 get it done? I feel like it could be close. Like if it's a 23-21 game, the Chiefs probably come out on top. But I will say this. I am not certain that unless James Cook gets really cooking, that the Buffalo Bills are going to be able to do anything more than that. So with the pace that the Chiefs are at, I just feel like all the momentum's there. Obviously, Pacheco is a guy that brings juice. And so I don't want to minimize the fact that he's unlikely to play in this game, and they do need that. But honestly, the way if the script writers are making this season go, the performance we got from Kareem Hunt last week, I think maybe baffles some of that and takes some of that win and puts it back in the sails if you're not going to have Pacheco. And I think that continues to push that offense. It helped the offensive linemen. So I feel they're more likely to be up towards that 30-31. That's probably going to be my prediction for the end of the game.
One more tidbit here as we talk about Mahomes having fun and look ahead to this Buffalo game. There was one more part of that quote that I didn't mention, and I think it actually impacts this game as well. Mahomes said, when the offense, defense, and special teams are rolling, it's fun to play football. The last part of that quote is, it's been fun to be here at Arrowhead doing it, and now we have to take it on the road and do it again. Last 3 games at home. I know that, and they're not going to be back at Arrowhead for a month, I believe is what it is. This is the test, right? You got the 3 wins at home against teams you were supposed to beat.
3 weeks.
The bye week in there, right?
Yeah, so they'll be back on the 23rd, right before Thanksgiving.
Right under a month. The challenge is now go on the road, do it against one of the best teams in the AFC, and keep that momentum, keep that energy, keep that fun, keep the juice of EGE and everybody getting a piece of the ball and it being fun. This is where we really start to see if Kansas City can take it to the next level against a team that a lot of people believe is a Super Bowl contender led by the reigning NFL MVP. Darren, you're skeptical.
I still kind of side with JC. I still kind of side with JC. I have questions about just how good this Buffalo team is, just based off the teams that they've beaten thus far. And then after Kansas City, it's not like their schedule gets harder, unlike Kansas City. So I'm not sure this team has really been tested. And I guess if you want to say they were battle tested, I guess you can say it's in those 2 losses that they had. Well, I guess the one loss to the Patriots, I think they were kind of blown out against the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm not really sure how good Buffalo truly is. So I think this is going to be their first test, their real first test of the regular season.
And, like you were talking about the Chiefs being able to go on the road and play, they're used to all that. Obviously Arrowhead with the crowd and everything is great. The crowd brings a lot of juice. But sometimes going on the road, sometimes you like going on the road to play because it kind of brings everybody together. We're all in the hotel together. We're staying together. We travel together, and it's us against everybody. And especially against in these games where you're going to Buffalo and it's a big game and, you want everybody to be focused and ready to go. Sometimes it's good to hey, it's just us against everybody. You don't have to worry about, family and friends calling for tickets, calling for this and that. And what we doing afterwards? We just go get on the plane and let's go and let's take care of business. So sometimes you like going on the road because it kind of brings the whole team together for one goal. Let's go get it done. And sometimes you like beating teams like Buffalo at their place.
We're just overlooking the eliminated them for the last 5 years theory. I mean, I know Patrick is petty, but when a team knocks you out and you got to sit on that and fester on that for the last 5 years, your tight end is dating the pop star. I can't get him off my TV screen. He's on every advertisement. I know this is a Chiefs-centric podcast, but let me throw a little wrench in there and say, Buffalo is sick and tired of KC dominating them.
But here's the thing.
What team is it? You got to go beat them. What team is it?
And every time we've been to Buffalo and Buffalo wins, they feel like that's their Super Bowl right there. I mean, they feel like, oh, well, we got you. I mean, they trust me. The amount of people that have their chest out after they beat the Chiefs up at Highmark Stadium in the regular season, you'd be surprised. You would think that that's their Super Bowl. So they gonna let them celebrate, and then when they come back down to Arrowhead in the postseason, reality hits them. So. Cool.
And I'm just not sold yet that this Buffalo offense is as good as it's been in the past. James Cook, James Cook, but they've had James Cook. I just don't think that their receiving core is as strong as it's been in the past. I don't think that we'll have any trouble matching up with them receiver wise. Now, I think their defense is not as good as it's been in the past either. So, like we were saying earlier, I'm just not really sold on how good Buffalo is yet. I'm anxious to see how this game goes.
I'm interested to see if the Chiefs are actually able to stop their tight ends for once, because I am sick of seeing these tight ends perform all over the Kansas City Chiefs. And we've seen some struggles in coverage from Nick Bolton and certainly up and down season, to say the least, from Jamar Connor, who's likely going to be on those tight ends. So I'm not going to count them out that they might put something together against the Chiefs because it's the Chiefs that they haven't done yet.
Yeah, but tight ends have always been a problem for us. You're right about that. But I don't think their guys outside are as good as they've been, or as good as we've seen. I don't think we have a problem matching up with their guys outside. There's no Diggs out there anymore. The big kid Zero is a big kid,
Coleman.
but he doesn't run real well. Coleman, he's not a speed guy. Have no problem with that. The other guys are
Shakir,
they're just guys, really.
Yeah, Shakir is the only one that you would worry about at the wide receivers. And I don't know, we might talk about this on the other side of the last break, but somebody has to convince me, how is this defense for Buffalo going to stop Kansas City's offense?
Right. Yeah. That's going to be the problem for them. Yeah.
Exactly. So
yeah.
We got plenty more Chiefs Bills preview, plus Darren Smith's favorite part of the show. We're going to go down to Vegas and talk some AP NFL award talk right after this final break.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs. With features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance, you can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go, while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, final segment here on the Chiefs Squad show in the midweek. Aaron Ladd, JC Pearson, Darren Smith, and Ryan Tracy looking ahead to a matchup against Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, the two favorites currently in Vegas for the NFL AP MVP award. Patrick Mahomes is the favorite. Then Josh Allen, Drake May, Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones. A lot of quarterbacks in here. Jonathan Taylor, he's 8 right now as we enter this matchup, and then Jordan Love and Jared Goff. It's a quarterback award. That's not the discussion. The real discussion is, can Patrick Mahomes catapult himself just to the trophy with an emphatic win here? My point, I'll say, and I don't know who wants to take it first. Whoever feels passionately about it can go first. These are narrative awards. I think Josh Allen mostly won this award off narrative last year. If you look at the numbers, maybe it was Lamar Jackson's award to really have. Josh Allen gets it off narrative. I think the fashion in which this game is played really dictates where this award is determined. And if Mahomes can lead the offense to another fun outing, they score 35, close to that 35 number that we were talking about, in a win, he's the clear and away favorite, and no one can really get close to him.
Josh Allen, I'll let somebody take it. And I'll come back. Josh Allen won the award because they beat Kansas City on that last drive. That's the reason why he won it. That's point blank. So,
Ryan,
I'll tell you this. I think this will decide the MVP for one reason in particular. And you can make all the arguments for Josh. You can make all the arguments for Lamar last year. Two guys that threw and ran the ball well last year. Josh isn't throwing the ball like that. If the Bills keep this game competitive and put that spotlight on themselves, it's because they're running the ball. This pass offense is not enough to put him in contention to keep up with Mahomes, who's 41 yards behind the leader in yardage, 17 touchdowns to 12 for Josh. I don't think, as you said, it's a quarterback award. And without that passing game firing better, having to rely on play action in particular, which they are excellent at, and I do admit that, but it's all based on the run game. And so I don't think the MVP race is a race much longer after this ballgame.
Well, I'm the old player mentality that, there's a lot of games left, and yeah, this game will will put one of the or the other in the lead. But there's a lot of season left, man. A lot of games left to be played. And, it may put you in the lead, but you're not going to win it on Sunday one way or another, or whoever has a great game. It will catapult you, but there's so many more games left, and you got to continue to win. You got to continue to play well. And, I guess I'm that Marty old school, one game at a time, one play at a time, kind of ingrain that in me. But yeah, no, man, this week is not going to win the award, but it can definitely put you in the lead.
What I will say is that I don't think this game, if Buffalo were to win, come from behind and win, I think it helps Josh Allen, but Mahomes won't be able to win at this game. And I'm gonna tell you, the game that it's going to be when they host the Indianapolis Colts, because when you talk about narratives, Aaron, the narrative is Daniel Jones coming out of New York, playing the Shane Steichen system, leading them. They only got one loss on the whole season. Jonathan Taylor, a lot of people are pumping him up now to move up in the MVP race. He'll probably end up being the offensive player of the year. See, even Tom knows what I'm talking about. But for Mahomes to win it, these are must-win games for Kansas City. This is going to be a huge stretch of games. If Mahomes, especially when you go into Dallas and national television, 50 million people watching, you win that game as well. But that Indianapolis game is going to be key because you need to put add another loss to their record and get one game closer to them so you can try to get the number one seed. Now, you get the number one seed as well as the way the offense is playing. And, for Mahomes MVPs always come from his stats and the team stats. Leading the league with his with his passing yards, leading the league in touchdowns, and the offense being the number one scoring team. Those are the years that he has won the MVP. He's on that trajectory now. If he does that, that's going to win the MVP.
I think to your point and JC's point, when it comes specifically to this MVP award, there's a lot of Mahomes fatigue. We've seen him be great for so long and dominate the stat sheets and come from behind victories in 13 seconds. And, he has to be beyond the level that he's already built for himself. It's almost not him against the field. It's him against years that he's previously put on tape and seasons that he's been successful. I could kind of agree with you, JC, and reel back a little bit. Even if Mahomes does have another 3-touchdown game here, but maybe it's not as sexy, there's still going to be that guy like a Drake May who has the narrative behind him, Baker Mayfield, who people are Google and Gaga over in the comeback factors that he had earlier this year. The fatigue factor is playing a little bit in Mahomes because it's like he's already the candidate that we pencil in that's going to be there at the end of the race till week 16 or 17 for the rest of his career, essentially. Who's going to be the other guy? And for this point, it's been Josh Allen. The head-to-head victory, though, really can help separate you when it comes down to those voter ballots, in my opinion.
But Aaron, look, man. Yeah, I hate when I talk about Vegas. I'm trying to tell you, this is facts. This ain't feeling. This ain't numbers. These are facts, Aaron. The years he won the MVP were the years that he led the league in touchdowns, led the league in passing yards, and the team was the top scoring team in the league. That's where they're trending right now. The reason why he was in the conversation last year up until they lost that game against Buffalo. Had they gone undefeated, he would have won. His record was only 15-1 because he didn't play the last game. He was not even in the top 3 or top 5 in voting for MVP. That's where the fatigue will come in from. The reason why the last 2 years they were a lot of one close games. They were not putting a lot of points up, not blowing teams out like they did the 2 years that he had the MVP year. Now that he's got everybody healthy, people are starting to see, oh damn, this Chiefs team is really how we again. Everybody asks the question now that I've been putting out there: how are you going to stop this offense when you got Rashee Rice, you got Worthy, you got Brown, you got Travis Kelce, whether it's Kareem Hunt or Pacheco in the backfield? Who are you going to double? Because the moment you double somebody, Patrick will either throw to somebody else who's going to be open, or he's going to run off with it and get a first down. How are you going to stop this offense? I'm telling you, Vegas likes points. The chick did the long ball. The Kansas City is America's favorite when they're putting points up on the board. Again, hell, you hold on. You got Skip Bayless even talking about the Chiefs in that Super Bowl. When you got Skip Bayless on the Chiefs side, that's a problem.
Any final thoughts here before we get to our fan questions?
Chiefs.
So where are you putting your money at this week, Darren? What should we do, man? What
Chiefs
should we
are
do,
1.5
man?
point favorites, man. I'm going big time on the Chiefs.
My guy,
I'm going with the Chiefs over 28. I'm going with the Chiefs over 28 points scored, and I'm going with them with the points -1.5.
I'm going
And
to a
Mahomes 3
steakhouse.
touchdown passes.
You doing what?
All right,
Ryan?
let's get to
Going
these
big.
audience
Hey, Ryan.
questions on the way out of here. My guy, Think Through Tactical, appreciate you rocking with us. He's talking trade. 5th round pick for Chuba Hubbard. Looks like they're going to stick with Rico Dowdle. Does anybody like that trade proposal?
No, and I
because
don't
the Chiefs
think we
just don't have
I don't
enough
think
football
we
to go
need to.
around, man. They're not
I
trading
don't
for no
think we
running
need
back.
to. If the guys that we have, the 3 or 4 guys we have, they understand their roles, and they play their roles well. You bring another guy in that may upset the apple cart, so to speak, or may want the ball more, whatever. You don't need that right now. I mean, I think we have guys that are capable. We rotate them. Now we're going to see more Kareem, I think, running the ball. And, he sounds like he's ready to go too and ready to prove a point. So I don't think we need to give up anything for a running back right now.
I agree. That 5th round pick might be your next all-pro corner. So,
We're back in on Breece Hall. I also saw something about Jalen Phillips. I'm going to be honest. I don't see the Chiefs making a trade before the deadline.
That's what I've been saying all along.
Yeah, I
There's
don't
no
know.
reason to.
With Cincinnati's help, I don't think they really need to.
Well, I
maybe
mean,
send some champagne to Cincinnati or something.
You can always improve the defense, yes, but offensively, I mean, you still got Elijah Mitchell on the practice squad, and if you would have traded for another running back, I mean, you cut him. I mean, are you gonna cut him? I mean, you just paying this guy for nothing. So essentially, why would you trade for another running back? And they don't run the football like that. That's the whole point. They don't run the football like that.
I think we touched on this question in a previous episode, but this is perfect for you, JC. Do the Chiefs hold back a little bit of the playbook, thinking these teams might match up a little bit later in the playoffs?
What? Hold back. You're trying to win every week possible, and you're trying to do everything you can to be successful. And whatever that takes, it takes. You have a game plan going in, of course, like we saw last week. The first half didn't go as planned, and so now you may make some adjustments, do some other things, run some other plays, but by no means are they holding anything back against any team, especially Buffalo. And these teams know each other so well anyway. I mean, there's not much you're gonna hold back on anyway.
Darren Smith, you didn't like the Calais Campbell trade previously. What do you think about it now?
They're not going to do it. So, I mean, he said I signed that, so I signed at it again. They're not going to do it.
We can finish on this one. JC, same guy. Tom's been very active. He wants to know what it was like getting beat by Elway in the 90s.
Yeah, but we beat Elway some in the 90s too. We got ours and he got his. So there you go, Tom. But he beat us.
Beat a lot of teams.
Yeah, the lot of the last minute drives, especially in Denver, he would beat. It seemed like we would always beat them here, and they would beat us in Denver. But Elway, man, there's a reason why he's in the Hall of Fame, right? I mean, he's one of the best ever. Those the Three Amigos were the Three Amigos, but they were just okay. But Elway made them who they are, and who they were rather. And then Shannon, obviously, was the tight ends. But yeah, man, Elway was Elway. You got to give him respect.
Anybody picking Buffalo this week?
No.
Picking up some Buffalo wings, I guess. Not the extent of
Tom,
Buffalo.
wherever Tom was at, you picking Buffalo?
Give me some all flats, Darren. I want all flats, extra crispy.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode of the Chiefs Squad Show. Unless anybody got some final thoughts.
Are we doing score
Tasty all the
predictions or
way.
what? We're doing score predictions or what?
Will you hand out some free money? Go ahead.
All right, well, Chiefs 31,
What's
Buffalo
Vegas say?
17.
Huh?
Vegas got. I just told you Vegas got Chiefs -1.5. I mean, I don't know what more you want from that. But I got Chiefs winning by double digits. So
you can hear mine on Friday.
Classic company, man.
I
Darren
got
Smith
the
has
key.
handed out some free money if you choose to accept it. We will see you all after the game, 30 minutes after the game. Ryan will lead us off. The squad show will follow suit. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. Until next time.